Welcome to the FLNG News Brief. I'm Army Staff Sergeant Chris Milbrook. We begin this month as the Florida National Guard and state agencies work together to prepare for hurricane season. A.J. Artley followed one team through their portion of the training.
A few days prior to the exercise, another team came out to these old roads and cut down some trees to simulate storm damage and how entire neighborhoods are cut off during a storm. Sergeant Jeffrey McKenzie would like to see more soldiers take part in exercises like this, if for nothing else, but to train with a chainsaw in a different way.
Most people, if they use a chainsaw, they use it for 10, 20 minutes, and then they put it down and they're done with whatever they have to do. You don't get the experience of actually going hours on end with a piece of machinery in your hand that is dangerous.
During this part of the training, another simulation was thrown into the mix. The observer controller told the soldiers their skid steer loader needed repairs and would be offline for a while. So they began to clear the trees by hand, but not for long because the other half of their team, the State Fire Marshal's office, had their Bobcat up and running within a few minutes. Although this training is helping all the agencies work on their skills, Sergeant McKenzie says building relationships is just as important.
Those are the people during a hurricane or whatnot we're going to interact with. If we don't have a personal relationship with them, it's really awkward that first time when you're going out and having to do things with them during an actual hurricane situation.
Reporting from Green Cove Springs, I'm A.J. Artley for the Florida National Guard. Always ready, always there.
Next, Camp Blanding hosted more than 30 local business and community leaders during Business and Industry Day. The guests were treated to a tour of Camp Blanding, and one of the first stops was at the Simulation Center, where they got some hands-on experience with some of the weapons and vehicle simulators our soldiers use in preparation for deployments. Following the simulators, our guests joined 3rd of the 116th Field Artillery for a live-fire demonstration of the High Mobility Artillery Rocket System, or HIMARS. Kimberly Morgan said she was surprised by the number of personnel who go through training here and the fact it's not just military members.
I have learned so much about how Camp Blanding contributes not only to our economy with the number of employees that are here, but the training that happens. Not only the military, but for law enforcement and different assets of the people that protect our country day in and day out.
For the past several years, the 146th Expeditionary Signal Battalion used their annual training to prepare for state and federal missions. However, this year's focus was to give the signal soldiers some hands-on experience with new equipment, which will allow them to have a better response to situations here at home and abroad.
So the soldiers are going through that type of training. They're understanding kind of what the signal flow is, where those changes take place from their specific equipment or the area that they're responsible for, so that when we bring everything together to support whatever entity, we've got the skills necessary to bring the network up and have it operational.
While the majority of the soldiers have spent time working on the various systems in a field environment, time is usually not allowed for in-depth troubleshooting during a training exercise or domestic response mission.
Export OVF template.
By bringing out instructors and setting up the equipment in a safe but realistic environment, the soldiers get to work through issues as they arise and become more comfortable with their specific areas of expertise.
So when they first came into the class, obviously they were deer in headlights. They're seeing this equipment, they've seen it at the unit before, but they've never really worked on it because to them it's just, equipment that's attached to the unit. But when they come into this classroom and they sit down and they actually get their hands on and actually get involved into the configurations and actually see how this stuff is actually supposed to be built, they take a big interest into it, and that interest becomes a passion, and then they actually start learning more and want to learn more, so they just continue on with it and they enjoy it.
And finally this month, we honored our fallen service members with 3 separate events. The Florida National Guard's Survivor Outreach Services hosted a Fallen Hero Tribute and Survivor Stampede at the Diamond D Horse Ranch. Gold Star families displayed photos of their loved ones and took part in a roll call of the fallen.
Sergeant First Class Kyle Simpson.
This activity day is designed to connect families and create a support network to help them cope with the loss of a family member and to honor their service members' sacrifice for our country.
Goats and Girl Goats have horns.
Additionally, members of the Florida National Guard volunteered to help the local community of Jacksonville by placing more than 11,000 flags near the tombstones of Jacksonville's National Cemetery.
And a lot of these young kids have never got an opportunity to do anything like this. So to me, this is hallowed ground. And to be able to come out here and look at these names and pay tribute to these people means a lot to me, and hopefully it means a lot to them.
At Camp Blanding, State Representative Bobby Payne, former Adjutant General of Florida, Major General retired Ronald O. Harrison, and the post commander, Colonel Matt Johnson, laid a wreath at the Florida Regimental Memorial as part of the annual Memorial Day ceremony. That's it for this edition of the FLNG News Brief. I'm Army Staff Sergeant Chris Milbrodt. For all of us here at the Public Affairs Office, thanks for watching, and tune in next month to see what's happening with your Guard.